Civil War sofa. No kidding, folks. I have quite a story to tell on this sofa. It's actually a personal story. It seems hard to believe, but I'm not making it up. So I get a call from a client here in where we conduct business, and she said, I've got this monster sofa that I need upholstered. So I said, okay, I'm used to that. And she said, you're not going to be able to get it out of the house. This is one of the problems, because they brought it up with the crane, and we didn't want to hire a crane. It would have made it prohibitive, the amount of the price. That was one issue. But so I went over and I looked at it, and I said, well, I think I'm going to try to take the outside back off in the house, and I was telling her what I proposed to do, and then see if we could just take the other piece down the stairs, which was a very narrow stairway. She lived on the second floor. So I started looking at it. While I was in the house, I was looking at it going, the first thought, one of the first thoughts, by the way, this is an Empire sofa. This would be classified as that, but it's very unusual. Usually an Empire has the loose bolsters. This is actually fixed. It's part of a frame, so that's what makes this kind of cool. There's a lot about this that makes it cool. So I'm looking at the job the last upholsterer did, and it obviously had been upholstered many times. So I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, oh boy, he did it by hand, whoever did it. And I said to the client, I said, this upholsterer struggled with this because he did this all by hand, and these are very difficult to get into by hand with a hammer. And then I started looking at it a little bit more, and I noticed something that looked familiar to me. This is the cool part of the story, okay? I started seeing where the upholsterer had seamed the double piping across, just straight across. Now I usually do it on the bias. I think it looks better. You hardly see the seam, but every upholstery is different. But I did notice that it was a really good job for using a tack and 6-ounce tacks, a hammer and tacks. It was a really good job. But I did see, I said to her, I think he struggled. And then I said to her, so where was it, what's the history? Where was it upholstered before? She said she lived in Newton, Massachusetts. And I'm starting to realize what I'm looking at. I think it was my mentor who upholstered this in 1976. And that just happens to be about the year. I think I was 1 year into this shop working in 1976. I graduated in 1976. And this is the year that this was done. I'm saying to her, I said, I think this was done by my mentor. I said, I can't wait to tear this apart to see if I'm right. I'll be able to tell. I'm just looking at the work. I said, it looks like, Mr. Ruby's work. That was his name. He's a real nice guy. Every young man should have a mentor, whether it be their dad or an uncle, or this happens to be a stranger in their life, like this guy, because he was a great guy. I was really excited. Upholsterers can tell each other's work. That's interesting. We can. We're intuitive enough to know who might have done something, even in 1976. So I said, okay. So yesterday, I went over and I took the outside back off, and I couldn't believe my eyes, because there's the labeling that looks so familiar, and I recognized my mentor's handwriting. And here's the outside back, his code. We use codes, as you know, if you've seen my other videos, we code things. We don't bother spelling outside back, for instance. We code it out. Now, he used to do OSB, outside back. And I'm not sure, I'm going to hold this up to the camera if you can see it, but I recognize this. He's been long gone, folks, okay? So this was really emotional and really fun for me to find this. But imagine after all this time. I've been upholstering since '75, and this was a year after I started. But anyhow, so this has been waiting for me all this time. It's been all over the country. I'm going to get to the history of this piece in a minute, but OSB, that's Mr. Ruby's signature. I couldn't believe it. So I'm excited about the piece on another level. I opened up with, I'm kind of joking a little bit, but it's kind of a serious, Civil War is always a serious issue, but this was made in Pennsylvania. The customer was happy enough. She got excited with me. So she wanted to find out more about the piece, and so she called some family members, and she came up with a little bit of history that I want to read to you. So this is in the 1860s, this was made. So It came from Lindsville, Pennsylvania, which is near Erie. The cabinet maker, his name was DeWalt. His son was a cabinet maker, and he fought in World War II. The cabinet maker DeWalt, who made this sofa, was of the Civil War period in Pennsylvania, remember? We all know some of the history down there. He made wing chairs and also cabinets. So I opened up with, I could just imagine this being made during the height of the Civil War, you know, and people just, life went on, you know, and it went on through furniture making. And isn't that wonderful to know that even in the worst of times, somebody had the, you know, I just can't even find the words for this, while that was going on around them in their own state, that they came up with such a thing of beauty, and it has so much history. And so I guess that's it, folks. I don't want to cry on camera, but I could, because of my mentor. This is all involved with my mentor now in the recent history of the piece, and all the way back to the Civil War. So, well, that's it for this one. This is certainly a treasure. I'm going to classify this as treasures of upholstery for sure. We'll see you later. Thanks.